whose brainchild this is, and Chris Gilson of Root Home, our tame property developer. What? Let's first of all say, why are we doing Conveyancing Matters, Hamish?
Well, several reasons. We have the great opportunity with all the podcasts that we put out to support different aspects of what's going on in the property world. We have the Property Matters, which is sort of coming up tomorrow. We have the IPSA sort of side of things. We have the Collective, where Chris, Juliet, and myself are present there to discuss, if you like, a topic from sort of separate sort of types of angles. And then we've got the Cladding Matters on Friday. And what it is, we don't have anything specifically to do with the conveyancing, but the conveyancing is heart and soul of everything that goes on with property exchange, because the very name of itself, conveyancing, is a change of ownership. Relative to that, our legal team have so much work to do. And of course, this week, one of the shames actually of this week being National Conveyancing Week, all the conveyancers are so darn busy trying to beat that stamp duty situation change that's sort of coming up. So what we've got, especially as Chris is actually coming on, because he knows all too well how conveyancing supports what he needs to do and how much we do owe to these hardworking property lawyers, because it's the property lawyers who tend to get these things over the line when things get stuck. So it's really in support of them, National Conveyancing Week. And but at the same time, there's a couple of things. It's interesting just to sort of comment that IPSA, the Association of Independent Personal Search Agents, celebrates 20 years this year. So if you like, because we are supporting conveyancers, that's important. But we are also launching our new channel on YouTube, which Gareth has come up with an excellent name for, which you will just tell us now.
Spilling the Property.
And you will see in the logo, it's absolutely tremendous. What we'll do, we'll stick it in the comments after this, and so we'll give you a link so you can come in and support us on that.
Please do. These videos will be the subtotal of all the various efforts of which Chris will be part of, all combined together, talking about all the different aspects and facets within the property industry. Chris, conveyancing, it's an important part of what you do.
It's a massive part of what we do. Yeah. So from the point of getting a property agreed, then we normally try and get it into the legal process as quickly as possible. For a variety of reasons, really, not least in that often vendors are not organised to the point where they've filled out all their property information forms, and that can take a little bit of time to get those transferred over through the solicitors and to ourselves to review and see if there's anything that we need to be picking up on, anything else that we need to consider. And then from that point moving forwards, the solicitors, again, you get good solicitors, you get not so great solicitors. Obviously, the team that we work with, they're absolutely second to none. Sometimes others are not necessarily that organised, or they just have such huge caseloads that they're pulled from pillar to post. So they're not necessarily have the same service levels as some of the team that we work with.
Conveyancing, that includes searches, the solicitors, it's the whole process, is it not?
That's right. Yeah.
And there are parts of that where the whole process can come to a screeching, grinding halt.
There are lots of potential bottlenecks in that process. Yeah. So, for example, we will normally use Hamish's organisation, Search Convey, to expedite searches rather than wait for the solicitor to get all the client documentation and the contract pack prepared. And because that process in itself, just receiving the contract pack, when we've currently got about 15 transactions in legals, I'm chasing maybe 6 contract packs that have been agreed at least 4 weeks ago. It's like, well, where are they? So we don't want to add an extra 4-week delay into our processes, which is why we use Hamish and expedite searches, knowing that we're highly likely to proceed with these purchases anyway. In the event that something comes up that causes the transaction to collapse, it's not the end of the world. It's a risk worth taking. But yeah, that's one of many bottlenecks. So what, for example, the different local authorities have different service levels. We were dealing with one in Cumbria a while back, and we were trying to get searches expedited, the local authority searches, and they just said, no, you'll wait 8 weeks. Like, what? So
Well,
I'm glad we.
8 weeks.
Oh, I think it was more. Yeah.
But,
So I'm glad
but,
we used Hamish at the front end, because otherwise,
right.
if we'd have waited for everything else, that would have created an additional few weeks on top of all that. So yeah, there are lots of things that can slow down the conveyancing process. Lenders are another massive one. So yeah, where we try and encourage, we try to buy ourselves or encourage our clients to buy using cash, just because you can expedite things so much quicker.
Of course.
Normally, the solicitors that we use, we quite often use Juliet's team. But yeah, she can get stuff done in a couple of weeks with a cash purchase. Bring a lender into the mix, and you're up to at least 6 weeks, at least.
Right, and it's I believe that lending, or the lenders, they can quite easily be frightened by market changes. So something comes along that rattles the saber, and suddenly all these different lending packages disappear off the marketplace, and once again you're in the waiting game.
Yeah, it's kind of crazy as well, and that's happened quite remarkably a few times over the last few years. Certainly around the trust fiasco, in our industry, when Home REIT went, with the Lotus Housing Association scandal, there's a massive retraction from the market in the social lending space. And if you're using cash, if you're in a privileged position to be able to use cash, whether it's your own or whether it's private cash from another party, it just accelerates the process. It creates a buffer and a protection against these types of market conditions, because the last thing you want to do is to stop buying when the market is trying to pull funding, because the market's pulling funding because it's getting twitchy, which means that actually there's probably an opportunity, and if you're in a better position to take advantage of that opportunity, you need to be doing that.
Well, I suppose if the market's removing funding, that probably means that necessarily be a pressure to lower prices overall, at which point it becomes, if cash buyers become even more kings.
Yeah, that's correct. Yeah, but yeah, there are huge complexities in the conveyancing process, and it's kind of compounded with the systems and processes that we have in this country as well, which don't make it particularly easy in the first instance, and actually quite complex with all the moving parts that are involved. And I hear people purchasing in different parts of the world, and their systems sound, at face value, I have no first-hand experience, but they sound phenomenal in contrast to our own.
Well, they sound like they've got less bases to cover. Hamish, what gets me, and this bears repeating, is that if you go to get a search done just through a traditional solicitor route, or if you go to IPSA, for instance, IPSA provide more information, more in-depth information, yet they do it at a faster rate.
Well, it does actually. I mean, this is why it's quite interesting. It is National Conveyancing Week. And what we are able to do is to support, if you like, that national conveyancing through the cooperative of independent providers who are working with local councils. And like as Chris just sort of mentioned earlier, the reason we are able to get something out of the council quicker than conventionally, particularly what the council is doing, is those people know the council very, very well indeed. So they will find a quick way of doing it. Also, the other thing is there are, if you look at the corporate providers, if you like, the sort of factory conveyancers, they struggle. And Chris again has indicated why they struggle, because they've got a whole stack there that they actually sort of need to get through. So this is why we so much enjoy the likes of working with somebody like Juliet, a property lawyer there, tremendously experienced, to be able to get that information actually through to. I mean, what was quite interesting earlier today, I've just had some conversation with a colleague, and they're saying, can I help them out? Because they went down the route of getting information in, and it doesn't make sense, and it's going to hold up the whole transaction. Now, I haven't looked into it yet. However, the fact that somebody has the confidence to speak to us to help out, because we are going to help that conveyancing solicitor. They are not going to have to go through figuring out how to do this, because we can go back and work directly with the council to actually resolve whatever the issues should happen to be. And that speeds it up. And as Chris said, if you can just get ahead, it makes that difference. And I think, I mean, it shows the fact that if somebody can actually be paying cash, that's a great way. It's just unfortunate that not everybody can do it. We need to go to the lender. But this is where somebody like Juliet comes in handy, or a really good experienced sort of property lawyer, because they will know how to work with that lender much more effectively, and they will resolve issues there. So it's really a team aspect, and it really is down to what that conveyancer, what that property lawyer can actually do on our behalf, that helps everywhere with the whole sort of, we just, sadly, in many respects, we're just sort of sat there as within what is going on, and anything that we can do to actually speed it up is really better for everybody, particularly those conveyancers.
I have to say, Chris, oftentimes I've heard Hamish, and I think yourself, speak highly of the fact that if you've built a relationship within your team, it tends to oil those wheels because everybody works together. And I know that Hamish's group that he represents, IPSA, are all about non-competing independent search associations. How important is it to get your team right? I mean, I suspect that going back in history, before, for instance, you came across IPSA, before you worked with Juliet, there were probably times where processes disappeared into the deep dark abyss.
Yeah, getting the team right is very critical. So yeah, one of the guys that's often overlooked is in terms of helping facilitate, for example, the lending relationship, because underwriters can be a bit slow and again a bit overloaded.
Right.
Is the broker. So again, that's a professional level interconnect between the solicitor and the lender, and it will just help facilitate. Now, obviously, solicitors can go direct to the underwriters, but it's just an added level of extra work for them, and it's not necessarily their niche. The broker, it is exactly their niche. It's their specialism. So that's just one element of building out the team around you. And yeah, every team member is critical. So for me, for I guess to some level of a selfish reason, I need redundancy in my team to know that if plan A doesn't work, I have a plan B, C, and D that I can put into motion to stop deals from stalling. But yeah, your team is, you're only as strong as the weakest member in your team, I'm afraid to say. So yeah, team building has been one of those things that we've personally gone through many times and hit many walls with, and it's just an ongoing process as it is with any business, really. But yeah, it has to be viewed with that mindset that it is critical to your business.
It just seems that you have to go through, in your position, quite a lot of mismatching before you find the right match.
You have to kiss a few frogs, yeah.
Yeah, it seems like an awful lot of frog kissing, and that's not what this channel's about. But in truth, Hamish, the most important part of the process of conveyancing is getting the right team together. Is that not right?
Oh, absolutely true. But Kathy, we know to get that over the line, we need that conveyancer, we need that property lawyer to actually finalise for us. Without that, no can do. It doesn't happen. So it's really, from our particular point of view, and I think Chris has pointed out it's something that I tend to forget about as well. The broker. the finance broker is going to be such a key, because they like we know our way into the councils, that broker knows their way into working with the lender. So if you've got that, and this is one of the interesting aspects of what we actually sort of hear so much. Oh, you've got to digitize, you've got to start all of this, but the people, and we notice in terms of the work that we actually sort of do, it's great to be able to get some of the data which we can get, but it takes the people who are involved to use that effectively. And as I said, this week, National Conveyancing Week, isn't it great to be able to sort of promote those solicitors who are actually sort of beavering away at the moment as we speak?
This new channel is here to promote better conveyancing. And I thank you so much, Chris, for taking time out your busy day to be with us. And Hamish, thanks for the idea of putting this forward. And to all of you out there, please try and remember, if you build your team, if they build it, they will come? No, probably that's a film.
Oh, that was a Field of Dreams. Field of Dreams, yes. Great
but
film.
If you build your team, then you're likely to get a better result. And hopefully you can learn from people like Chris, people like Hamish and Juliet and so on and so forth over time, how to look out for the right people, the right ideas, so that make that team as strong as possible. Until next time, please keep your feet on the ground, keep reaching for the stars, and let's all push forward for better conveyancing. Bye-bye now.